Were unicorns actually real? Unicorns are famously mythical. They are used to refer to impossible, unbelievable things, along with flying pigs and the Bermuda Triangle. Unicorns, according to scientists, do not exist and are only a part of folklore. But if that's the case, why do we see unicorn imagery in nearly every culture, from Chinese and Indian to African, European, and American? It's not possible that the entire human race across the world came up with the same thing unless it was real. Believe it or not, unicorns did exist tens of thousands of years ago, but they weren't exactly the beautiful, majestic, colorful creatures you're thinking of. No, they looked more like this. Not what you had in mind, right? The Siberian unicorn resembled a shaggy rhino with a horn on its forehead instead of horses with gleaming, colorful manes and tails. Recent fossil discoveries in the Pavlodar area of Kazakhstan revealed that the unicorn, or as it's scientifically known, Elasmotherium sibiricum, walked the world around 29,000 years ago. The fossil remained signal as it was an old male, perhaps the last of his kind. But the incredible thing about the fossil we found in Kazakhstan is that scientists believe the species had gone extinct 350,000 years ago, thanks to other fossil remains. So this fossil, which clearly gives a different number, baffled scientists. How did this one survive so much longer than its cousins that died thousands of years ago? According to Andrei Shpansky, a member of the study, the southern area of western Siberia was essentially a refuge for some unicorns, and this one survived the longest here. The team expects that this discovery will help them better understand how environmental conditions contributed to the unicorn's extinction, because it looks like they survived in this one region longer than anywhere else. Learning the conditions that kept them alive might also help us preserve other wildlife on the brink of extinction today. The research published in the American Journal of Applied Sciences also states that these unicorns were around 6 feet tall, measured 15 feet in length, and weighed over 8,000 pounds. Absolutely nothing like what we imagined. The size of these Siberian unicorns is closer to a woolly mammoth. Despite their massive size, though, they were merely grass-eating grazers. But are they the only mythical creatures that turned out to be real? No. Next on the list, we have dragons. Dragons are among the most well-known and enduring legendary creatures in the world. Stories of them are predominantly in Asian culture, but they do make appearances in Indian and European stories too. They have a long and rich history and continue to cameo in our literature, films, and television series. It's unclear where or when dragon myths initially appeared, but the massive flying serpents were mentioned as far back as the ancient Greeks and Sumerians. For most of history, dragons were regarded as other mythological animals which are beneficial and protective at times and destructive and terrible at others. Aside from medieval theology, few people now believe in the physical presence of dragons in the same manner that they believe in Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. The dragon is too large and beautiful to be thought of as real. It's just unlikely that any huge winged fire breathers roam Earth's lands or skies unnoticed in this day and age. If they were around, we'd waste no time clicking their pictures and posting them up for all of Twitterverse to see. However, stories about dragons appeared to be validated just a few centuries ago by first-hand reports from sailors returning from Indonesia, who claimed to witness dragons. Komodo dragons are a species of monitor lizards that may be aggressive, lethal, and grow 10 feet long. In a feasible parallel to dragons, previously believed that a Komodo dragon's bite was deadly due to toxic bacteria in its saliva. Still, that myth was disproved in 2013 by a team of researchers from the University of Queensland, who found that the mouths of Komodo dragons are no nastier than those of any other meat-eaters. Still want to eat that steak, buddy? Western scientists officially confirmed the presence of the Komodo dragon around 1910, but myths and legends about these fierce monsters had existed for much longer. Dragons have existed in some form or another for millennia. They have continued to captivate our collective imagination via epic fantasy novels by J.R.R. Tolkien and others. Unlike the dinosaurs that inspired stories about them, they show no signs of extinction. Another mythical creature that's famous in pop culture? Vampires. Well, at least a deer vampire. Most people wouldn't put deer at the top of their list of creatures to be afraid of, but deer appear far more dangerous in some parts of the world, and it's because they have fangs. These deer, instead of flaunting their amazingly long and beautiful antlers during mating season, will display their massive tusk-like teeth that reach well past their jawlines. These teeth definitely help in fights against other bucks or predators. Can you imagine being a lion just looking for lunch and greeted by a deer with teeth as big and sharp as yours? These unusual animals are sometimes known as vampire deer, but they don't prey on their fellow deer or go hunting for animals or humans. Like other deer, they eat grass and plants. They just have an extra bit of protection for themselves, that's all. Several fanged deer species are found across Asia, including the tufted deer of southeast China and muntjacs, which may be found in India, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Taiwan, and even the Himalayan ranges. So how did these unique creatures end up with fangs while their cousins ended up with antlers? Scientists believe that all deer initially had both. However, as they evolved, larger species got more giant antlers and lost their fangs, while the smaller deer retained their tusks but produced smaller antlers. Antlers or not, these petite vampire deer are undoubtedly charming, even if scary. If we're going to discuss vampires, we can't not talk about werewolves, one of the other mythical creatures that are everywhere in Hollywood. The werewolf is a legendary creature that has inspired countless stories and nightmares across the world. Werewolves are individuals who, according to tradition, shift into fierce, strong wolves. Others are a hybrid of a human and a wolf, but they are all ruthless creatures with an unquenchable lust to slaughter humans and animals. It's uncertain when and where the werewolf mythology began. According to some historians, the werewolf first appeared in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known Western writing, when Gilgamesh rejected a possible suitor because she had changed her former partner into a wolf. In 1521, Frenchmen Pierre Burgos and Michel Verdun purportedly swore allegiance to the devil and claimed to possess an ointment that transformed them into wolves. They were both burnt at the stake after confessing to ruthlessly killing multiple children. Gilles Garnier, also known as the Werewolf of Dole, was a mid-16th century Frenchman whose standout feature was a wolf-morphing ointment. As a wolf, he savagely slaughtered and ate children according to folklore. He, too, was burnt at the stake for his horrific crimes. It is debatable whether Burgos, Verdun, or Garnier were mentally ill, under the influence of a hallucinogenic drug, or simply cold-blooded assassins cooking up a story. On the off chance they were none of these things, the only other explanation is that all these people saw a large wolf. Not a person who has turned into a wolf, just a bigger-than-normal wolf. But it's unlikely that superstitious Europeans in the 16th century would settle for such a simple answer. So we can credit superstition and a well-fed wolf for the stories we have today. Now, some people love cruises, swimming in the ocean and sailing, and some are deathly afraid of what lies under the surface of the deep, dark, vast ocean. These are people who have likely delved into one too many tales about the Kraken. Sailors have been telling legends of giant squids for thousands of years, and it has made it into pop culture, with the most notable appearance being in the beloved Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Despite decades of hunting, giant squids have only ever been photographed, and in 2013, scientists captured the first footage of a live giant squid traveling 2,000 feet beneath the Pacific Ocean surface. Ocean researcher Edie Witter captured the film. She told All Things Considered weekend anchor Jackie Leiden that the mysterious creature may have been up to 30 feet long. For the record, the biggest squid ever recorded was 55 feet long. But enough with the dangerous stuff. Let's revisit a beloved fictional creature from The Lord of the Rings. We are, of course, talking about hobbits. Bones of a new human species were found in the Indonesian island of Flores in 2003, and they were much smaller than the average human. Because of that, they've been dubbed Hobbit, and it looks like they came from Africa. Called Homo floresiensis, our cousins existed on this island some 54,000 years ago. They were the only other early hominids found in the region, which remains unearthed on the Indonesian island of Java. The findings indicated that they were most likely a sister species of Homo habilis, which was one of the first known human species discovered in Africa 1.75 million years ago. They were thought to evolve directly from the Homo erectus, but research has revealed no evidence of this. While prior studies concentrated mainly on the skull and lower jaw, more recent studies collected 133 data points: jaws, teeth, arms, legs, and shoulders. ANU School of Archaeology and Anthropology visiting fellow Dr. Debbie Argue states that it's not a feasible idea, especially since it looks like the Homo floresiensis was more ancient than Homo erectus in numerous aspects, such as jaw structure. What do you think? Well, that's it for today. Which of these animals blew your mind? Tell us about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Animal Booth for more content. Thanks for watching.